Welcome back to another episode of Defend Philly. I'm Vonnie Hannah-Marion, and along with Lewis Coco, we're here to bring you the latest Flyers news. Lewis, season's coming to an end. Let's hear your thoughts on the season. Let's hear your thoughts on where the Flyers currently are.
Yeah, we were talking right before the show here, a little bit of off-air discussion right before we started, and you brought up actually a great question. And all props to you for this question because it kind of threw me for a total loop. But it was, have the Flyers just met our expectations for what we thought this season was going to be? And it actually sent me reeling for a second because my original gut reaction was absolutely not. What are you talking about, Vonnie? The Flyers have not met my expectations. I was expecting, and then I stopped myself and thought, wait a minute. Before this season started, we thought this team was going to be a bubble team. So, like, maybe a playoff team right on, like, the edge of that, bubble for years before this season even started. We thought maybe they would, we thought there was a potential that they wouldn't even make the playoffs for another 2 or 3 years. Now,
Yeah,
there was a potential, we thought there was a potential they would, but the
but there
potential,
was there was no expectation that they would. There was a
no.
hope that they would. But going
Yes.
off what you're saying, like the expectation heading into this season was to have a season, was to build, was to move some people around, was to develop some sort of routine, some sort of like stable core, and they've kind of found a little bit of a groove. And they had some hot games, they had a hot streak, obviously tanked in the winter, but they were gone. They were on a little roll, which was unexpected and it was great to see. But at the end of the day, heading into this season, like they exceeded our expectations to start and then met our expectations to end. And not saying that they're not in a playoff spot. Right now they're not, but not saying they're not going to make the playoffs. There's what, like a 7% chance they make the playoffs at this
It's,
point?
according to Money Puck, it's a 3.8% chance they make the playoffs.
3.8% chance to make the playoffs. They'd have to win more than half their remaining games,
Yes.
and every other team would have to lose, which is fine. I don't see a world in which they make the playoffs. I'd be very happy if I'm wrong. But as of now, where they are, this is what I fully expected. And I'm fine with that. I think that a lot of people are very upset with that because they began to exceed our expectations, but I am perfectly fine with that. I think this team did what we expected them to do, did a little bit above what we expected them to do. I mean, look at their start to the season, that period in the fall, they were going. It was fun to watch, but then they moved back to what we expected. So I can't be mad about this, and I can't be frustrated that this team isn't going to make the postseason or is not expected to make the postseason because this is my expectation going into the season.
Yeah, I I think I mean you're absolutely right. I mean before the season started, again, we didn't think they would probably even maybe make the playoffs. I think I I always think of myself as more of a level-headed, like I wait on things. I like to watch and watch and watch before I, buy into something. But man, I must have bought in so hard when the Flyers were so good in that period in the fall. I bought in so hard to the point where there's still residual. You asked me that question before the show started, and I was like, no, no,
Yeah.
they absolutely underperformed what I thought. But in reality, you're right. They did not underperform. They performed kind of exactly where we thought. The issue is, I I don't know, and you have said this before, that, and you even just said it there, this season was kind of about building a foundation. I don't know if they really did. I mean, they added some pieces to the foundation. I mean, Dan Vladar has looked fabulous. That's
That's
your
all the
last line of
biggest
defense.
gap heading
Right.
into this season.
It was one of the biggest. Yeah, certainly one of the biggest. They kind of plugged the 1C gap with the Dvorak. With bringing Dvorak on board. The issue is then they signed him long term. So there's probably, when we think of a foundation for the long term, there might be a crack in the foundation that I'm predicting in a couple years when Dvorak's contract is inevitably terrible in 3 years. You know what I mean? So, I mean, what do you think? Do you think they built a good enough foundation? Did your expectation of how this season was going to go in terms of building that foundation, did they meet that? I'm not talking about making the playoffs, I'm not talking about how they played. I'm talking about what they built. Did they meet your expectation for what they built?
Yeah, I hear you. I genuinely think yes. And the sole reason would be Vladar. Going into the season, we needed a number one center. We knew Couturier was not our number one center anymore. We needed a goaltender. Those were the two biggest gaps. And I'll say this once, and like you can, if you watch any episode, you can understand like I'm a goaltending girl. Like I care the most about the net. I want to know who's in there. I was there when I was rooting for Steve Mason. Steve Mason is still one of my favorite Flyers players of all time. It's like, right? But the issue here is I think that they did because they found Vladar and he was able to shine in that role, and that was unexpected. I think that there's still issues with the number one center. I think that there's still issues with scoring. Obviously, there are problems, but I think filling that gap, filling that hole in the net, literally was the biggest thing. And I think also they developed some younger talent and they're bringing more guys up and they're going through a rotation a little more. They're bringing people up for a little bit. They're testing things out. I mean, Alex Bump has been great for the Flyers. There have been young guys that have really like kind of broken into the game without a lot of pressure, which I think is necessary. And so I think that's been good. It's obviously not where we want it. We want to see a playoff. Everyone wants to see a playoff game. Everyone wants to see a contending team. This is not a contending team, but this is a team that has a strong goaltender, young talent that's developing. They're making some trades, they're making some moves for the future considerations to continue building this team. And so, yeah, I'm kind of happy with where they ended up, if not for anything else, strictly because of Dan Vladar.
No, that's totally fair. And honestly, I mean, if you don't have a goalie, you almost have nothing. So
Mm-mm.
I agree with you there. I think adding Vladar was a very big piece of creating that bedrock foundation for what this team is. Because again, you can't play without a goalie. There's 5 players on the ice plus a goalie, and you need someone back there who
Yeah,
is not Swiss cheese.
is
So Dan
reliable.
Vladar,
There you
right?
go, not Swiss
Exactly.
cheese. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Who's reliable. So Dan Vladar has certainly been that guy. I just the thing is, and you're right. You're absolutely right. Denver Barkey has looked spectacular. Alex Bump has looked spectacular. Obviously, moving Brink was the catalyst to bring Alex Bump up into the fray, and he's looked great here at the end of the season. So that's exciting. That two of the guys that were in Lehigh that were you know kind of being molded into what could be the future that have looked like so far have panned out. And obviously, Porter Martone's had a really great season with Michigan State this year, so him coming up next year is great. The issue is I was looking for a little more development out of some of the guys that were young, but that were on the roster currently. I was looking for a little more from Jamie. Now, I'm not saying Jamie Drysdale has had actually a fairly good season, and he has made strides forward, but I was looking, honestly, for a little more from him. I was looking for a lot more from Matvei Michkov, and I think, again, a lot of people say you don't build out from the wings, you build from your center in. And, I mean, I understand that, and you're right. Couturier is just getting older and slower, and he's looking worse every day.
Every day.
Relegated to the fourth line. It's been really, really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, Dvorak kind of plugged that hole, but I mean, Noah Cates has kind of just been status quo, and I know his line got moved around a lot, and the Forrester Brink Cates line looked really great, and then Forrester got hurt, and then Brink got traded. So I understand maybe a lack of development there, but I was looking for a lot more from Matvei Michkov. I was looking for more from Jamie Drysdale. I was looking for more from Cam York. I was honestly looking for Travis Sanheim to probably have a bigger season than he did. Um, you know, goalie, defense, forwards. I'm kind of disappointed with where our defensive core is too. It's basically Sanheim and Drysdale. I mean, that's about it.
I hear you,
I
but
don't
we
know.
also you can't ignore the fact that this season the Flyers had three 20 assist defenders. Like their defenders are setting up opportunities. It's the first time since
I mean, that's
2011 that the Flyers have had three defenders that had 20 plus assists. So that is good. I think our defenders aren't as upsetting to me as the forwards, the lack of scoring, the inability to get those opportunities, the chances, the consistency, really, because you see scoring, right? Like you look at a box score, the Flyers can get goals. They're just not getting them consistently and they're not reliable. So my biggest upset this season has been the offense. But obviously there's issues with the defense and it trickles down through everything. There are issues with the returning players. The returning players have not been as strong as we had expected. There's a lot that goes into it and a lot that needs to be fixed. But heading into tonight's game, let's talk about it. I mean, Anaheim, the Flyers are heading to Anaheim, second time this season, first time in Anaheim, I believe. And
It sounds right. Yep.
this game is, I mean, you can say this game is important. I mean, every game now is important if they think they're going to make the postseason. But
Yeah.
especially tonight, this is a huge game for your defenders because you have an Anaheim team that's coming in who they are strong offensively. They can get pucks in the net, they can score, but they let up just as many goals. So our defense needs to be on, our offense needs to be on. But I think this is a really big game for our defense, especially like I want to see a big game from York and Drysdale tonight specifically.
Yeah, totally. And you would think maybe Jamie Drysdale would have a little bit of extra juice coming, being an Anaheim guy and came over
Yeah.
in a trade. So, I mean, look,
They're
the the issue is if the and we said this at the top, the Flyers are gonna have to win more than half of their 16 games or whatever it is remaining, and the next three are not gonna be easy. It's
mm-mm.
Anaheim tonight, they got LA tomorrow night, and then on Saturday they got San Jose. Now look, San Jose and Anaheim and rather LA are not in the playoff picture right now. Both of those teams are currently fighting for that second wild card spot in the West. But the issue is those three teams have had some hot streaks this year. I mean, specifically the Ducks. I mean, the Ducks are first in their division right now, above the Edmonton Oilers and above the Vegas Golden Knights, who
Yeah.
those two teams have been perennial playoff teams for 5 or 6 years now. So
Mhm.
you're right. I mean, this is going to be a really tough road trip out west for these guys. And honestly, I mean, the Blue Jackets have looked fairly good as of late. They're not, a great team. They're only 1 point out of that second playoff spot in the East. So I mean, this next four, even the five. I mean, Chicago is kind of a should be a pushover, but you never really know. And then Detroit after Chicago. The next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. I
Yeah,
mean,
and I
some of
mean
them are toss ups, but some of them are going to be tough.
specifically playing this back to back, I mean, we know this game tonight against Anaheim is going to be physical. The Anaheim Ducks have been, they took out like three players the first time we faced them. Obviously, they're without Radko Gudas right now,
Yeah, I was going to say who
which
got
is a
suspended for
plus
five
five
plus games or
games,
whatever.
like literally 5 games, I'm pretty sure, which is a whole nother issue.
It was
But
5, yeah.
they're without him. But it's going to be physical. I mean, these two teams, when they go up against each other last time, there were punches thrown. There was a lot of scrum. There was a lot of fighting. There were a lot of people heading down the tunnel with injuries that have still kind of that took a minute to recover. So this game is going to be intense. And then to turn around and play a game the next night is not easy, especially after such a physical game. So I'm curious to see how they do it, especially with the fact that they have to keep winning and everyone else has to keep losing. This team is in a iffy position, and this is not ideal if they want to make a postseason. Then
And
again,
that's that's saying that's why it's a 3.8% chance that they'll make it. I mean,
yes,
I don't see it. I don't see it.
yeah. And let's talk about the Flyers' newest signing. Any thoughts?
Well, we were you and I again. This is also pre-show, and I don't have a ton of intel, and haven't really had a great chance to see Powell or Knuble. But what we were talking about was the fact that it is
Cole,
so, and this is kind of just Cole Knuble, a father or son of Flyers legend Mike Knuble. But it's so funny in any sport, and I've experienced this with other sports too. I mean, I feel so old when they're signing. How old are these kids? Let's
okay,
see.
Cole Knuble is 21 years old. I am currently 21 years old. The
Yeah,
second that I reach this state where like the people that are being signed are my age, and I'm only 21 for another like a literally a day less than like a month.
I was gonna say
We'll just
just
say a
about.
month.
Yeah,
It's just under a month. I will be 21 for, and then I'll be 22. And this kid will be younger than me. And he'll be signed with the Flyers. It's insane, especially when you're like following a team and you care. Like I've been following this team since I was 6 years old. I've kept track of everything. And the fact that these players are now my age, or I haven't seen too many youngers yet, which is a relief, but
I
nearly
mean,
younger.
Luchenko?
Yes,
Is
there's some of
he?
them are younger than me. It's insane. I feel
Yeah.
old, but I'm not even that old. It's crazy.
Luchenko's 19. Jet Luchenko's
No,
19. He's
like
19.
it's insane.
How about Celebrini? He's only, I think
He's
he's, what's he?
20,
He's 19.
19. Okay. Yeah, I mean,
Celebrini.
even seeing like, oh my gosh, like just even in the draft, it's insane. Like, who was it? I'm trying to think. Matthew Schaefer?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Is that
He's,
right? Yeah,
he's a
he's
baby.
18. I'm pretty sure he's 18. That draft pick, I was like,
Yeah.
it's crazy to see just like how we're not getting younger and they are. Like I mean, they're just
Yeah.
signing people. I feel like I'm getting old. It's insane. And I'm not even that old. And I know that everyone's gonna be like, you guys are so young. Like, da da da. No, these kids are younger than us. And they're signing
I know.
professional hockey league contracts.
And it is weird too. Hockey and baseball seem to be two of the sports that you start the youngest at, even professionally. Like think of it. Did you see the Phillies? Taking it off hockey for a second. The Phillies signed an 11-year-old from. I think he's from. Let's see, Phillies. He's 11 years old. I think he's from. He's from Venezuela.
It's a
Venezuela. Just
genuine
won the war.
signing.
Yeah, they signed him to it's over $1 million. $1.8 million signing a bonus. It's called a pre-agreement. The kid's 11. How do you sign an 11? And now he's not playing for the Phillies. And it's a pre-agreement. So whenever he gets to a certain age, he will be the property of the Philadelphia Phillies. But he's I mean, think about.
It's
I mean,
insane.
hockey. You join the if you're good enough, like Matthew Schaefer. You're 18 when you
You're
get into the
18.
league. I mean, no other. I mean, football. You go to college. You're in your 20s when you come out. I mean, even basketball. I guess you could be pretty young in basketball, but typically,
I mean, like this season,
typically,
seeing Jahad Campbell on the field for the Eagles, like he was my
yeah,
age. I was watching
right.
him get like national attention and everything. And it's like you
He's
are
22.
literally he's 22 now. Yeah. He
He
he and I
just turned 22.
yeah, he and I are like a month apart, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
but I
about.
was like, it's so weird to think about this kid that grew up in New Jersey, similar to
Yeah,
me, and
yeah,
now is playing for the Eagles, is recognized by national media. I spend
yeah,
24 hours a day talking about him, and he's my age. Like,
yeah.
it's
Uh,
crazy. The other thing with the 11-year-olds that like shocks me is, or the 11-year-old that shocks me is there's so many regulations for NCAA and collegiate signings. Like you have a certain day that you can start talking to D3 schools. You have a
yeah,
certain day you can start talking to D1 schools. I went through the college process a little differently than most, but I still ended up playing a D3 sport. And so there are different regulations for how often you can talk to them, what you can do, stuff like that. And you're not able to talk to them at 11. I'll tell you that. That's
that's for
But
that's
for
for damn
professional,
sure.
you can. Like you're not allowed to talk to them until like June 1st. And it's
Yeah.
just a crazy sequence. And moral of the story is we're getting older and the Flyers don't look like they're heading anywhere near a postseason run this year.
I was gonna say we're careening towards the end, and the Flyers don't look like they're getting. You'd think maybe a little bit of an exponential growth, but it seems like it's going to be kind of a very flat line, maybe a very gradual increase. I'll be like 50 before I see a Stanley Cup.
Right. And you'll be like, wow, we were 22, 21 and
I was gonna
24 talking
say,
about
and
how
it'll
we were old. That'll definitely
and
happen.
it'll
That's
be
gonna
I'll be like it'll be like 75 or 80 years before they
hmm
win the next Stanley Cup.
Yep. Podcast will still be
Unreal.
going, whole thing.
Man, hopefully, yeah,
Who knows?
we'll
Who
see.
knows? Well, I believe that's all, right? That's all for today.
Yeah,
This
pretty
has
much. I
been,
mean, it's hard to talk about, with the way the season is. Right? I was talking to somebody who covers the Rangers yesterday, and he was saying the same thing. He does, national shows and everything, and he was saying it's so difficult to talk about teams and especially the Rangers, at this point in the season, just because it's like it's so dull right after the trade deadline and everything, and so we're feeling that
yeah,
for sure right now.
definitely. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard,
Not a
especially when
lot
your
to talk
team's
about.
not making the moves
Good.
that you had hoped. Good. When your team's not good. Thank you. That makes it
Yeah.
easier. Well, as always, this has been another episode of Defend Philly. I'm Bonnie Henry, Lewis Coco. You can find all of our episodes. We're uploading them all to Spotify today, so you can find all of them there. Then we also have YouTube, Twitter,
Twitter,
Instagram, a
Instagram,
website. So feel
website,
free
TikTok,
to TikTok.
TikTok.
Feel free to subscribe to keep up. We will post our weekly episodes. And yeah, thank you for watching.